dogs. How lovely are they? Hi guys, so a few of you have asked me to talk about how I got into the industry, my career path to becoming a makeup artist and then working as a creative director with brands. And so I thought I'd answer some of your questions and hopefully give you some advice if you're trying to find your way and navigate the crazy world that is fashion and makeup. So I'm from Cambridge and I grew up with a family of engineers. My dad, my brother and my sister are all engineers. My mum is very creative. She was an amazing and is an amazing knitter and wrote a book on knitting with mohair when I was a baby. But I definitely grew up in more of a masculine environment. And that probably really shaped the way that I work in sort of like a 3D way, because my dad was always building things and making things. So it felt like we had scaffolding in the garden and he was an inventor. So I think I probably took a lot from him. And then my mum will introduce me to the arts and got me on painting courses. I did loads of sports and dancing when I was very young. Dancing was the first, probably, you know, my like first passion, and I was dancing from the age of 4. And then when I moved to London when I was 17 or 18, I continued dancing and doing musical theatre, and then I joined the Theo Adams Company, which is a dance and performance company, and we toured. I think that influenced me in a very specific way in terms of understanding the performative side of what I do. It's given me a really good idea of structure, performance, character, dramatics. It was really from joining the Theo Adams Company that I got into makeup, because I was a performer with them, and one of our collaborators, an artist called Matthew Stone, asked me to do some body painting on a shoot for ID magazine. And I remember I was on set with another makeup artist, and I felt like her job looked really easy, and I kind of felt like I wanted to do what she was doing because it felt kind of very instinctive and natural. So that was my first kind of experience working in like a professional way in the fashion world of makeup. I worked as a children's face painter to basically finance myself through university. I went to St Martin's and I studied product design there. So I started face painting basically just to earn a bit of cash, but actually it ended up being a very kind of powerful and important way for me to learn how to, you know, use paint and makeup on the face and work very quickly, brush work, colour work. I would say that rich kids' parents are probably the most difficult clients you could ever work with, so it was also very good in that respect, learning how to deal with difficult and demanding people. I never really assisted. I worked with a couple of makeup artists at the very beginning of my career, and they taught me a little bit about skin, but I never really officially assisted anybody. And I think because the way my career started, which was basically body painting and face painting, I kept being booked on my own for that particular skill. So I kind of worked backwards. I went from like the really, really creative part of makeup down to like the bare minimum of skin in a kind of like the reverse way. But for me, that was the best because I always felt really in control of my career, and it meant that I made lots of mistakes and I learned from them, and it gave me the confidence to know that I could always work very well on my own. I guess the transition from makeup artist to creative director happened quite quickly because I was self-directing a lot of my own work early on, and that kind of became something quite natural. So when people would ask me to creative direct their projects, I already kind of knew what I was doing because I'd been doing it for myself. And part of being a creative director for another brand is really understanding what that brand is trying to communicate and what they're looking for, and being able to implement your own creative ideas, but always kind of keeping the client's interests firsthand. I think I'm continuing to learn that it's okay to develop yourself as a creative, not to be beholden to one form of creativity. You don't have to just be a makeup artist, you don't have to be a hairdresser or a photographer or a dancer or anything. And I really feel more than ever it's important to follow your instincts and to do what just feels right, and to kind of just go wherever that leads you, because then you'll always be on the right path, not to resist too much. People often ask me what advice I would have given to my younger self, and I mean, there's lots of things I would have advised my younger self not to do, and most of those involve, hello. Most of those involve, you know, like being kinder to yourself and looking after yourself a bit more. But I think a lot of people are very quick to give advice, and I actually think that it's more important to just listen and be, you know, feel like you're being heard. And I would have probably just done a lot more listening to my younger self rather than give her any advice. She was fine. If you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments below. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you don't mind the dogs sitting in on that video. See you next week.